All right, a number of things to get through this morning. Dr. Batty, it's great to see you in Lagos. Looking forward to that interview, sit-down interview with Professor Joash Amokpito amidst all that's happening here this morning. But Rufai, your take on this story is today the president's visit to the airport in Plateau and to see the people of Plateau State, Jos in particular, the area of Jos. And then what's happening with the ADC, INEC, a call for resignation just so early in the day.
Okay, so the president went to Plateau. He went to Jos. But he didn't go inside Jos. He was in the airport. I mean, what level of insensitivity to the plight of people do we have in this country? He had the event at the airport, and he was telling them, I have time because the airport will soon shut the lights, so I have to go. Why didn't he go into Georgetown? Why didn't he go to where the incident happened? Just like he did with Yewata. We thought he was a one-off, but it's a pattern. So for those that keep defending these things, I don't know when they are going to ever be sensible. You say you are there to commiserate with people. You have an event within the airport. You didn't get into the town. You are number one citizen. You have all the security might in this country. And then you think you can placate them. You tell the woman that was clutching on to her son, oh, I see you. I see the pain you feel. I understand. President Tinubu, you don't understand the pain that woman feels. And I think it's part of the insensitivity. A woman clutching on to the lifeless body of her son. You don't understand it. You don't know the pain she feels. I don't even know. Nobody can say we know the pain they feel. What we just call for in this country is more empathy. So you couldn't stay with the people and make your presence felt? You're so quick to come back to Lagos. So now it is obvious. You remember when we were talking about the Maiduguri visit, why did you go to visit them? Yeah. He said, oh, because we had already pre-planned London. Okay. So UK is more important than the lives of the people anyway.
I mean, the VP did.
But he could cancel Ogun trip to say he was going to visit this one, right? I mean, we don't need people to remind us that we are not really cared for. And like Foundation for Investigative Journalism, Fisaya Sriombo said, he said at least until we get a president that can truly show empathy to the people. And we'll continue to deal with this one now. This is yet another installment in the empathy showing. I know his supporters will say he has done right. I know they will say he has shown empathy. I know they will say he even addressed the woman. I know they will say he felt the pain of the woman. It's their right to talk. On top of that, he said they will install 5,000 new
enabled
CCTV cameras. So it takes the killing of people to know that you install 5,000 new cameras. How about it being installed all this while? But when you are going to campaign for elections, you can go into the town and wave your hands at the people to garner their support, right? But in times of disaster, you can't go into the town. You just do an event in the airport and you tell them, I have to hurry up for time. As regards the ADC problem, see, I think I pointed out some facts out yesterday about INEC. And it will be on record the role INEC is playing in this democracy. I just put forward some scenarios. Number one, now INEC is saying we have to do a revalidation. Secondly, we are seeing what is going on as regards the case of this ADC, the plenty back and forth. Some are saying INEC will have sought interpretation. I'm sure Dr. Batty's interview will reveal a lot of that. Thirdly, we saw the case of the Labour Party, where INEC had a Supreme Court judgment from April 2025, and that judgment was only enforced after another judgment from the Federal High Court came in January 2026. That's why people are talking. And when people are talking, people should watch themselves. I yield the floor. I know we don't have enough time today.
Tight show this morning, Dr. Batty.
Okay, very quickly. I think that the trip to Jos, yes, Nigerians legitimately have the right to question the processes, to question the optics. The president of Nigeria told us that he was going to Jos following the meeting with the governor of the state to commiserate with the people, to empathize with them, to identify with them. And we said yesterday, well, it may be late, but better late than never. Oh, yeah. And then subsequently, he said he was postponing his trip to Ogun State and other states, which he rescheduled it, to be able to identify with the people of Plateau State. And he used his own ex-handle to explain that. Only for him to now go to Plateau, to Jos, and to stay at the airport. Now, if the president of Nigeria feels intimidated by the security situation in Jos as to just stay at a press conference, meet the people, town hall meeting at the airport. How about the people? But I would like to excuse the president in that regard to say that he was poorly advised. Because what happens when the president is visiting any part of the country is that there will have been security briefing. So his security people, whether it's Brigade of Guards or the Ministry of Defense or whatever structure, did not understand what you talk about when you say empathy. What we know is that when a president is going to empathize with people who have faced any form of disaster or tragedy, he goes to the local school. That's the place where the tragedy took place, so that he will be seen to be identifying with the people. But the security people kept our president at the airport. They owe us an explanation. I don't think that the president will have acted out of security advice. However, there was also another incident that occurred. The president said, oh, there was no electricity at the airport.
The light on the runway?
Oh, yeah, electricity. It's electricity that will provide light on the runway. So what is the Minister of Aviation doing about that? Because the president was reported as saying, there's no light on the runway. I have just 10 minutes to spend here. I have to leave. Now, that airport is owned by the federal government. The federal government cannot even provide electricity on the runway to ensure the security of movement of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That, I think, is very embarrassing. Now, the President, in another report that I saw, we were told that only about 20 victims were brought there to that town hall meeting. And it was in the process that he spoke to Mommy Ayuba, the woman who lost her son, and said, well, whatever consolation I give you will not bring your son back, but I can only promise you that I will do a lot more. As part of that promise, we had one of the ministers, who is that now, talking about providing, yes, whatever, that he's been given the instruction to provide 5,000 AI-empowered CCTV service. That's unintelligent, in my view. CCTV? The CCTV they provided on Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos and in Abuja Metropolis, what happened to them? People stole them. In some other instances, when the police collected money to provide CCTV in parts of Nigeria, where are those CCTV cameras? Nigerians will go and steal those CCTV cameras and see it as their own share of the national cake. So this is the problem we have here. And I said yesterday on this program that we have had panels, commissions of inquiry related to the Jos case. We had Justice Fiberisima in 1994. And I was saying, look, this thing is not old, it's not new, because President Tinubu, it didn't start with President Tinubu, he's been there. We had the Emmanuel Abisoye panel in 2001. We had the Justice Ajibola panel at a time. We had the Plateau inquiry of 2004. All of that. We even had the Justice Ajibola Commission of Inquiry. All of these commissions, whether Abisoye or Fiberisima or Ajibola, giving recommendations as to how the problem in Jos can be solved with regard to ethnicity, with regard to land disputes. So it's not a CCTV that will solve the problem. There is enough knowledge within the system.
All right, okay, so the president arrived late and then said he could not stay more than 10 minutes in Jos as a result of the, affected timing based on that meeting with the presidents of Chad. On getting to Jos, Nigerians were quite taken aback to find out that he went to, like I said earlier, he visited the airports, because I can't imagine people losing, you want to pay a bereavement or commiseration visit, and you tell the people that are bereaved to come and meet you so that you can commiserate with them. It's quite an interesting, even culturally from an African or Nigerian sense, it's quite an abnormality. But this is what happened yesterday, and a number of things were cited. But one of the things that was said was that the president had to move quickly because of the lack of lights on the runway. But I asked the question, there are many options for movement and logistics. Surely the president could have, if there was a will to see the people, empathize and show a strength of leadership, he could have opted for a chopper. We have helicopters. He didn't have to go through the runway. With the lights, we can say that takes time to fix. It's an aviation problem that we need to ask on the long term. But there are many other ways that he could have moved from Jos if he had chosen to go. He is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so that excuse, unfortunately, does not hold water. And then he came and then they had some conversations and the directives. Two things that came out of that meeting with the people who were bereaved and had to travel over 1 hour to meet him at the airport for a few minutes was that he said that 10 CCTV AI-empowered, AI-enabled CCTV cameras will be dispatched to 5,000, sorry, not 10. I'm mixing it with the time he stayed there. 5,000 AI-enabled CCTV cameras. And I asked the same question I you asked earlier was on my mind. Why now? One of the criticisms of the handling of insecurity in Nigeria currently is our reaction. We are too reactionary. Didn't the government know, despite experts who have talked about leveraging AI, leveraging technology to tackle insecurity, didn't they know that they were supposed to deploy ahead of time? Didn't they receive intelligence? Don't they act on intelligence? And so whilst it's a great announcement, as with a number of things that have happened in this administration, it's a good announcement too late. It's reactionary. In fact, we note that some terrorists and insurgents already use AI-empowered systems and weapons in their operations. And so Nigeria is almost coming late to the party. The second thing he did was to ask the Chief of Army Staff, Minister of Defense, IG of Police to fish out the perpetrators. This is something we have heard a lot of times, but let's see to what extent it will go. Unfortunately, we are out of time.